Thank you very much, everybody, for that wonderful welcome. And it's great to be here in Wales. It's great to be here in Bridgend with 44 days to go to the most important election this country has faced in my lifetime. An election in which, as you've just said, Alan, every single vote will count. A really important election for the future of this country. And I'm really pleased to be able to be here in Wales and to say directly to Wales how important Wales is to me, because Wales is important to our country. And every single vote, we want to get votes and support here in Wales, because that will strengthen my hand in the Brexit negotiation. And every single vote for me and the local Conservative candidate will be a vote for a stronger Wales, for a stronger United Kingdom, and as I say, will strengthen my hand in those important Brexit negotiations. And a vote for any other party would be a vote for a weak and failing Jeremy Corbyn, propped up by a coalition of chaos which would risk our national future. So every vote for the Conservatives, every vote for me, every vote for a local Conservative candidate is a vote for strong and stable leadership in the national interest. And that is what this election is about leadership, about stability, about doing the right thing for Britain. And it is only by voting Conservative that you get that strong and stable leadership, because that's what this Conservative government has been providing. And if you just think back to when I took over as Prime Minister after the referendum, there were predictions of immediate financial crash, of economic danger. But because of our strong leadership, what we've seen is consumer confidence has remained high, we've seen record numbers of jobs, and we've seen economic growth which has been above all expectations. When I took over as Prime Minister, people said the country was divided, that it would never come back together again. But you know, what I see around the country is a real unity of purpose, of people urging us to get on with the job of Brexit and make a success of it. And when I took over as Prime Minister, what was needed was a clear vision and that strong leadership to take us forward into those Brexit negotiations, and that's what we've provided. And that's the security that you get from a strong and stable government and strong and stable leadership. Indeed, it's actually what leadership looks like. And the choice at this election is very clear. It's a choice between that strong and stable leadership under the Conservatives or a weak and unstable coalition of chaos led by Jeremy Corbyn. And make no mistake about it, that is what is on offer. We've seen the other parties lining up to support Jeremy Corbyn, to prop him up, the Liberal Democrats. We've seen it from Nicola Sturgeon, Scottish nationalists, and of course we've seen it from Plaid Cymru. And you have a very real example here in Wales of Plaid Cymru working with Labour, the sort of collaboration that we would see in Westminster if Jeremy Corbyn and Leanne Wood had their way in the future. And what we see from other parties is that they want to undermine the task ahead. They've shown that they're willing to do anything to disrupt the Brexit negotiations, to stop us from leading Britain into the future. And make no mistake, it could happen. Remember, the opinion polls were wrong in the 2015 general election. They were wrong in the referendum last year. And Jeremy Corbyn himself has said he was a 200-to-1 outsider for the Labour leadership in 2015, and look where that one went. So we must not be complacent, and I'm not complacent. I'm going to be out and about, and I'm going to be campaigning and working for every single vote. Because what this country needs is that strong and stable government for the future that can take this country forward, not just making sure that we make a success of Brexit, but taking us beyond Brexit and into the future. And it means getting the right deal for every single part of our United Kingdom, for England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, for city, town and country, for every part of the United Kingdom. And you'll only get that with that strong and stable government and with the strong and stable leadership in those negotiations. And this is important because Brexit isn't just a process. It's an opportunity. It's an important moment for us because it's an opportunity for us to change this country for the better. It's an opportunity to ensure we really are a country that works for everyone and not just the privileged few. Of course, to do that, we have to have the right plan to take us forward as a country. And that's what we have with our plan for a stronger Britain. And yes, that plan is about getting the right deal abroad, but it's also about getting a better deal for ordinary working people here in the United Kingdom. And as we look at getting a better deal, getting that right deal abroad, what do we want? Well, as we negotiate our way out of the European Union, we want to ensure that we are bringing back control of our borders, of our laws, of our money, that decisions about Britain are made here in Britain. We want to negotiate a good, strong, deep and special partnership with the European Union, with our European allies and neighbours for the future. We also want to strike deals across the world for trading, for exporting British goods and services. We want to lead the world in preventing tourism, but also in fighting against modern slavery. We want to make the United Kingdom the strongest and most secure country in Europe. But as I say, we also want to ensure we get the best deal and a better deal for ordinary working people here in the UK. That's about ensuring that we continue to build a stronger economy, an economy which creates secure, well-paid jobs, where we see prosperity spread across the whole of the country. We want to ensure that there's opportunity for all, that we are building enough affordable homes for people, that we do ensure there is a good school place for every child. And we want to ensure that Britain is a more secure and united nation. And that means dealing with acting against the extremists who want to divide us. But it also means standing up to the separatists who want to break up this precious union of nations. We can only deliver that with that strong and stable government, and it is only the Conservative Party that has that plan for truly ensuring that we create a country which is for everyone and not just the privileged few. So we have, as a party, we have the plan, and we will be taking that out and around the country. I'm going to be out there around the country meeting voters, listening to voters, hearing their concerns, taking our message out of what can be done in this country for the future around the whole of the United Kingdom. It's a positive message, and we will be fighting a positive campaign. And we will be out there working for every single vote, because, as I say, this is an election in which every single vote counts. So it is important that we get out there, that we show the plan that we have for building a stronger Britain. As I say, it's only the Conservatives who have that strong and stable leadership to form that strong and stable government. It's only the Conservatives that have that plan for a stronger Britain. But it's only you, the people, who can give us the mandate. So my message is very clear. On the 8th of June, vote for strong and stable leadership in the national interest. Give me a mandate to lead Britain. Give me a mandate to speak for Britain. Give me a mandate to fight for Britain. And give me a mandate to deliver for Britain. Thank you. Thank you. Now, you won't be surprised to hear we do have one or two members of the media who'd like to ask some questions. Laura.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. You've warned against complacency, but you would not be here in rock-solid Labour territory if you didn't really think you were on course to take significant ground from the Labour Party. Now, last week you wouldn't rule out scrapping the Tory ban on increasing taxes. Today there are suggestions you might cut taxes for working people. Which is it to be? And how far are you willing to go to grab seats in parts of the country that until now have been Labour heartlands?
Well, first of all, on the tax issue, there is going to be a choice at this election. There's a choice between a Conservative party, which always has been, is, and will always be a party that believes in lower taxes. If you look at what we've done as a Conservative government in the last few years, 31 million people have seen a cut in their income tax. 4 million people have been taken out of paying income tax altogether. And the choice is between that and a Labour Party whose natural instinct is always to put up taxes. And indeed the former Labour Shadow Chancellor has said that their plans would lead to doubling of income tax, doubling of national insurance, doubling of VAT, and doubling of council tax. So that's the choice people will have at the election. Now, about the part of your question, which is about the areas of the country that we go into, as I said in my remarks just now, this is an election in which every single vote counts, because every single vote for me and the Conservative candidates will be a vote that strengthens our hand in the negotiations for Brexit, when I'm sitting around that table getting the best deal for the United Kingdom. So I will be out and about around the country in all sorts of areas, all parts of the country, taking this message. A vote for me and a vote for the local Conservative candidate is a vote to strengthen our hand in the Brexit negotiations. Thank you. I think was it Robert from Sky was here? Yes.
Thank you, Prime Minister. You say that give me a mandate, and you're obviously appealing for one for yourself, but aren't you using...
Unfortunate timing. That was just as our man Robert Nisbet was going to put his question to the Prime Minister.
Yet another nonsensical Jeremy Corbyn plan for the future in terms of Brexit. And what we've seen in the coalition is parties themselves I'm not talking about the opinion polls, I'm talking about parties actually talking about being willing to prop up a Labour government led by Jeremy Corbyn. That would damage this country's future. It would risk uncertainty for the future. Thank you. I think, is that Lynn? Yes.
Hi, Lynn Davidson from The Sun. Prime Minister, you've said social care is one of the biggest issues facing the country. You've said that you want a long-term solution to this. Will that long-term solution be in your manifesto, or will you duck it or kick it into the long grass like so many of your predecessors have?
Well, as ever, you'll have to wait and see what's in the manifesto until we produce the manifesto. But you're absolutely right. I've been very clear on the issue of social care. I recognise the pressures on social care. And I've seen it as needing a short-term, a medium-term and a long-term response. In the short term, we've put extra money into social care. First of all, there was the action we took in terms of some councils being able to increase their precept. Then there was the action we took in the budget, which was putting £2 billion extra into social care. In the medium term, we need to make sure that best practice is spread around the country in relation to social care. There are some parts of the UK where you will see that local authorities are working very well with local hospitals and local health trusts in relation to social care, and other areas where you see significant delayed discharges from hospital, putting real pressure on the NHS and making life difficult for those people who are involved in that. So we need to spread best practice, but yes, we are and have been already working on a long-term solution, and that's what we need in this country. We need to stop ducking the issue. We need to ensure we've got that long-term solution for a sustainable future for social care. Hi, Anushka.
Anushka Stana from The Guardian. Prime Minister, your government has committed to £10 billion for the NHS until 2020-21, but this Parliament is, of course, going to take us beyond that date. Jeremy Hunt has repeatedly said that pressures on the NHS will require substantial increases in funding. Are you prepared to provide those above-inflation increases by the end of this Parliament?
Well, yet again, you're tempting me to talk about something that will be in our manifesto, and you must look at our manifesto to see. But the important thing, I think, if you look at the NHS, again, it's an area where there's a very clear choice for people between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. The Conservatives in government have put that extra money into the NHS, the 10 billion extra that we promised would go into the NHS and is going into the NHS over this period up to 2020. In the budget, the Chancellor provided extra funding for the NHS, for some of those sustainability programmes, but also for working with A&Es to help improve the way that accident and emergency departments are working. That's the record that we've got. We've actually, if you look at the last financial year, we as a Conservative government put more extra money into the NHS than Labour at the general election were saying they would put in to the NHS. But I can't stand here in Wales and talk about Labour and the NHS without saying, if you want to see what Labour would do to the NHS, just look at the problems here in Wales. The Western Mail, I think, yes.
Martin Shipton from the Western Mail. In Wales, the Labour Party and Plaid Cymru have both made a big deal about the need to remain in the single market. They've spoken about the possibility of jobs being lost. They've spoken about the possibility of companies moving from Wales to other EU countries if we're out of the single market. Bridgend Ford, of course, isn't too far away from us here. When you met Goldman Sachs last May, you made some comments to the workers there that would indicate that at that time you agreed with these comments that are made by Labour and Plaid Cymru. What's changed your mind?
No. When I was very clear, I campaigned for Remain and made no bones about that. I spoke about the balanced decision, but I also said the sky won't fall in if we vote to come out of the European Union. And as I say, I think we need to ensure that we make a success of Brexit, but also we take the opportunities for the future that arise as a result of Brexit, which is about us being able to negotiate those trade deals around the world and take those decisions for ourselves. In terms of the single market, I've also been very clear. I laid it out in my Lancaster House speech in January. It's in our white paper. It was again in the Article 50 letter that we want the best possible deal for trading with the European Union and the remaining member states of the European Union. We want the best possible tariff arrangements, tariff-free if possible, frictionless borders to ensure that trade can continue. It's not about access to the single market. We're talking about trading with the single market. It's about making sure we get the best possible deal for that trade with the single market. That's what's important to businesses here and businesses across the United Kingdom. But we're only going to get that with a government which has the leadership and the plan and the determination to go out and negotiate that best possible deal for the whole of the United Kingdom. And the only party that has that is the Conservative Party. Thank you very much. Thank you.